Hello, darlings. Welcome to Marriage Matters. I'm your host, Musette Lavelle. Thank you so much for tuning in. Do me a favor, click that like button, subscribe, and share our video. Next, we have two guests coming up that I'm sure you're going to want to hear from. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank Kiki so much. Thank you for coming. Tell us a little bit about how you met.
Well, I was going to church on Sundays, and one of my friend girls said, "Kiki, come on, I got this church that you would love to go to." And I was like, "What church you talking about?" And she was like, "Kiki, just come on and go to church with me." And I'm like, "Okay." And I was like, "What time church started?" I went home, I got ready, she told me what time church started. I said, "Okay." So I got my clothes on and went to church, and the church was Greater Life. And we started going to Greater Life. It was on 525, 525 then. And I went, and I used to go probably maybe 2-3 months maybe. And I would always see DJ on the drums or whatever. And I would always say, "Wow, who was that fellow over there on the drums?" And I would always ask somebody, they would tell me whatever. But I was always, when I go, he would always be looking at me. And I used to be like, why he always looking? Like, why he always looking at me? So one Sunday after service, he came and we talked or whatever. But somebody told me that he was interested, and I went to him and we was talking, and we just started talking from there. So we met at church 15 years ago.
So how did you feel when you saw her, DJ?
I really didn't know her, but I knew she was really beautiful.
You thought she was beautiful. You wanted to get to know her, right? You didn't know her yet, but you wanted to get to know her. So what was y'all first date like? Was it awkward? Was it...
Well, I remember what I wore. I had on a yellow shirt. You remember the yellow shirt I used to wear all the time? And I had, like, back in the day, you used to wear your hair in the buns. You used to go buy the buns. I had on this yellow robe. And I went to work, and we went to this Mexican restaurant in Lancaster. And we was trying to figure out where we was gonna go for our first date. And I remember we went to this Mexican restaurant in Lancaster, and that was our first date.
Okay, all right. Well, what is your couple song? What is the song that you hear and you just automatically think about each other?
I don't have one specific song. I like all love songs. So love songs.
In general,
just
something particular song.
Okay, that's cool. That's what's up. So let me ask you this: is there anything that you guys have done, either one of you have done over the course of your marriage, that you wish you could take back?
What is it we could take back? I don't think so.
Like you've done everything right, like there's nothing that you did that you like, I was wrong, I wish I would have did it different.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for where I am, but I would have wanted to be a little bit more prepared.
Financially.
Okay. So you wish that you had went into your marriage more prepared in the financial aspect.
Right.
So,
I mean, it hasn't been bad,
right.
but more prepared.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay. All right. That's good. Well, let me ask you this. Where were you when you realized, I'm asking you, DJ, where were you when you realized you were in love with Kiki?
Actually, I was home going through my sickness, and I was talking to her on the phone, and I was, like I told her, I had been in a lot of relationships, so I told her, I was basically getting myself together. The next person person I talked to, I wanted to be my wife. And, you know, we talked on the phone and got to know each other a little more. And I was like, I believe this the one. I didn't tell her that, but I mean, I just felt it in my heart.
So you kind of were entering this relationship with the hopes of marriage. What about you? When you went into this relationship with DJ, were you looking at marriage? Was marriage in your mind? Was that your hope or your goal?
It was, but going to this relationship, it was just like I had been through so many relationships and I was just hurt and I was broken. And it took a while for me to get to that point, but I knew that this relationship had to be different because I just had poured out so much and I was just so hurt and broken. And I remember us even starting when we first started talking, and I told him that, and he would always tell me, just trust me. And I was like, just trust you? So I was like, I don't even know you like that. What you mean, just trust you? I got to get to know you or whatever. But I was really, really broken and hurt when going into this relationship. But after, years, I mean, it took years. Like, it took years.
So how many years did you guys actually date before you?
It was 11 years, but it took probably like 4 years before we even went on our, no, it probably took like 3 years before we even went on our first date.
So you guys were just talking on the phone?
And going to church.
And going to church.
And seeing each other at church.
But you weren't boyfriend and girlfriend?
No.
Okay. So, but what I like something that you said. You said you were broken. You said you had been in a lot of relationships, but you found each other, right? So that gives a message of people that have been hurt and in relationships before that they feel like, oh, well, I can never love again. It is possible to love again, correct? No matter what kind of hurt you've experienced, it's possible to love again. That's some good stuff right there.
I hate to cut you off, but
No,
you have to find out where you are though. As a person before you can say you're gonna love and be in love with somebody else, you got to make sure all that old stuff is gone in you.
So in other words, no baggage.
Right, you can't take that.
Right.
You can't, because you're gonna be living with her, she's gonna do the same thing that, and you can't do that.
You can't do that. You can't put what someone else did to you on the person that you're with. Now, it's unfair, right? It's unfair to you and it's unfair to her because you're not giving yourself an opportunity and you're not giving them a chance, right? So that's some good information. Hopefully somebody will hear that and say, okay. So my next question to you guys would be, you've experienced a lot of things, you've been through a lot of things. What is the most inappropriate question that you've ever been asked?
With me, as far as Kiki, I cannot believe you that young and you going through all that and you know DJ went through this and he's sick and this and that. And I'm looking at people like, when you take your vows, and we was just not talking about this on our way here, when you take your vows, it's for sickness and health, through death do you part. I mean, those are vows that you gonna come against them vows. And I remember going somewhere in a one of my, I don't know, she had to be my friend, because even for her to even get close to me to even say that, she was like, I can't believe, Kiki, that you're that young and you staying with him even though he done been through all those operations and he done been through all that, and you still with him. And I was like, yeah, because I love him. That's why your vows, sickness and health, and vows, agape love, it takes love. It takes real love. So I think that was somebody that asked me that, and I was just like, but people think whatever they're going to think. They're going to think that. But for somebody to actually ask me that, I was like, yeah. And now my question was because I love my husband. I love my husband through thick and thin, death through our part. That I took our vows serious. So I think that was the, and I was like, oh my God, she asked me that. And I wanted to punch her, but you can't, people gonna say, you know what I'm saying?
What about you, DJ? Was there an inappropriate question that was asked to you concerning your marriage or your relationship?
I don't think I came up with nothing too awkward that I couldn't answer. I don't think right off my head.
And I remember it was another question. When we got together, his mom, my mother-in-law, she was like, it wasn't inappropriate, but it just caught me off guard, because when we first got married, she was just like, now Kiki, you sure you want to do this? And I was like, yes ma'am. And she's like, now how, because we got 2 kids. We have a 19-year-old and we have a 7-year-old. 19-year-old is not biologically his, but he's been there since she was 3. And DJ's mom asked me, how does her dad feel about y'all getting married? And I was and I think it was appropriate because I was like, for her to ask me that, I was like, it don't matter what he thinks. He's not in this relationship. But I understand where you're coming from. But I felt that to be very awkward because I couldn't believe she asked me and I was like, it's kind of weird, but you know.
Trust me, I know what you mean.
Like,
but as a mother of daughters with children and a son, you know, with children as well, I'm sorry. You kind of want the best for your child. So I kind of see where Miss Reva may have been coming from in terms of, because she didn't want no baby. You know, some of these baby mamas and baby daddies.
Right. And
that's a whole other show, though.
But it just got me off guard because I was like,
yeah.
Okay. But that was one I was like,
I can dig that. I can definitely dig that. So you mentioned a little bit about DJ being sick, right? How did you feel when you found out? What went through your mind when you found out?
So with me and Derek first, and I guess that was one of the issues I kind of was trying to deal with too, is going into this relationship. Can you handle it? That Kiki, because I mean, being a diabetic is one thing you hear people talking about it, but being in a relationship with somebody, that's totally different. Mm-hmm. And I've heard all my life of being a diabetic this and being a diabetic that. This can happen and that can happen, but actually being in a marriage with somebody and dealing with somebody on a day-to-day basis is very, very different. And so I guess I just really, really had to, you know, take into consideration, can I go through all that? Can I deal with all that? Then to go into our marriage, and we got married in September, and he had a surgery in July.
I remember, yeah.
Oh, it hit hard. It hit hard. So I was like, okay, can Kiki? And I had to ask her, look, Kiki, can you handle this? Because it was something, trying to plan a wedding, and then my husband going to the surgery about to get half his leg amputated. I mean, that was something. So it was a lot that I had to deal with. But as far as dealing with it, I prayed. I said, God, I know that it took us long enough to get here, and if we're here, you brought us here so that we can get through this together. But I'm telling you, it took much prayer, supplication, and fasting, because it wasn't easy, and I can't tell anybody it was easy, but we made it.
Right, we made it. What about you, DJ? Like, what did you, like when you first found out that you were gonna have to have this surgery, how did you feel? What went through your mind?
Well, I was very sad. It hit really hard, you know, to know you got to lose that limb. You know, when he first, let's go back a little bit. Before them telling me I had to have the amputation, I had other surgeries, bones, certain things taken out. So I was standing on my faith that I knew the Lord could heal me, but he had another plan, another way to heal me. So, but it's still the human side of knowing your foot is not going to be there. So it was kind of hard, you know, when he first initially told me. And then I was like, I had to stand on his word. I just knew I had to trust him.
Yes.
And that's what really kept me trusting in God.
Right. I can only imagine. I've kind of experienced a little bit about what you two have been through, but nowhere near to the extent. So let me ask you this question. What effect has the illness had on your marriage overall?
Finances. Yeah. Finances. And him not being able to want to work like he wants to. That was really the biggest issue. You know, not him being able not to work or whatever, but I mean, anything else. I mean, everything else.
That's about the biggest thing. But I'll go back to, I had to trust him in him, you know, telling me that I wasn't going to have it no more. So I had to put that trust in another area, in my finance area, which God gave me finances though now. I mean, I'm not where I want to be, but I'm getting, you know, where a lot better each day.
Right. So, which one of you two is the most intimate, most romantic?
DJ. I'll say long, DJ.
Oh, okay. So you guys, you just not romantic at all.
I mean, it's not even the point. And DJ always tells me all the time, Kiki, you know, and that's in this relationship, anything you want, you got to put something in it to get something out. But me, I just be like, I'm just so tired, and but DJ, it doesn't matter. Like, he's so loving, he's so, you know, touchy-feeling. I mean, I am too, but DJ is more of like that, because I be like, I'm tired, I've worked out, I'm too y'all. And he's like, you act so old, but I just have to get myself together. But DJ, he's always been like that. I mean, since day one, since we first met, he's always been like that. I've been kind of the one that's been like, but DJ has always been the one like that, yeah. He's always been the one.
Well, that's good. So, with all of the issues with the illness and, you know, finances being affected and everything, how are you two able to stay together and move past your issues?
God and prayer. No, for real, I'm telling you, it took much prayer, because I'm telling you, you know, the devil don't like marriages, and the devil don't like you being happy with it, but it was many times, and I mean, I'm not going to be perfect, we went our separate ways, and we, you know, got ourselves together, and, you know, but every time God brought us back together, because we both knew what we wanted, but it's been many times that, I mean, we've been separated like 2 or 3 times, because.
Really?
Yes, because it was just.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that at all.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't, you wouldn't. Because we know how to carry ourselves. But it took a lot of counseling and prayer and just believing that God put our marriage together for our family and, you know, wanting to be whole. But yeah, we've been saying yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you guys have done a wonderful job of keeping your business to yourself or out the streets, as they say. But all right, so let's change gears a little bit. Let's shift a little bit. Going to the in-laws.
Mm-hmm.
Have either of you ever had to stand up for yourself against your in-laws?
I mean, you know, I can't say I've had to stand up, but it wasn't to where it was a shouting match, right? You know, just total out disrespect and just walking off and stuff like that. Something that you couldn't talk in, you know.
Just a matter of like saying, I'm not gonna put up with that. You're gonna respect. I mean, because I've had to do that. You know, stand up for myself and say, okay, this is my home, and you're gonna respect my home, and you're gonna respect my marriage. But you don't have to scream. You just have to basically just say, you know, I'm not gonna tolerate this or whatever. What about you? Have you?
I don't think it's been a time that I had to stand up for myself, but I do remember one incident that we were at the hospital, and it was one time that we had went through one of the surgeries that DJ was in, and all of us was in the room. It was me, him, his mom, and his sister and her fiance, and we was all in the room, and we was just talking, and you know, I wanted them to, you know, get on the board as far as in like, okay, you know, I know I'm, you know, DJ's wife, and I know what the role I'm supposed to do, but I wanted them, I guess, do more as his mom being mom or his sister being sister as far as being there, because a lot of people can tell you that, you know, they're there for you when you call them whenever you need them, but when you go through something, you'll see who'll be there. Not saying that they never went, because his mom has been there through everyone in surgery, but you know, sometimes, you know, you need a little break, you need a little help, and I never was the one to go ask them, well, can y'all come up here and do this with DJ while I go do this, or, you know, I gotta go do this with the kids, or can y'all come to the hospital, or X, Y, Z. But there was one particular time at this time, and I was like, you know, I guess it was a family intervention. I told them, I was like, look, you guys, you know, if you see DJ doing something, or you know he's not supposed to be eating that, or whatever, X, Y, Z, y'all need to say no and do this. And they just kind of looked at me like, and I was like, no, because we want DJ here. We want him in better health. And I was like, you guys need to help as far as doing that, because if you guys encourage him, or you guys don't say, well, that's not helping him at all. And they kind of looked like, and his mom, I think his sister might have said something, but, and you know, I had to, you know, tell her, look, you guys not here going through this every single day. You know, you come and you visit and you go home and, you know, you do what you can, but as far as me being in the household with him, I need you guys' help, because you a mom, You're a sister. You guys need to help. So that's the only time I think we really ever. But I love my mother-in-law. And I know DJ loved his mother-in-law. We've never had a match up. I mean, any arguing match or anything like that. So it's never been. But that was just one particular time that I can think about. But and I guess you know what? It also makes a difference. And you know, everybody says that they saved and everybody says they're Christian. It makes a difference when you have a saved Christian mother, because I know I got a real good saving and good Holy Ghost filled mother-in-law. So that probably makes a difference as well. Now my mom on the other hand, she knows the Lord or whatever, but she's not, you know, where she should be, but she's where she is. And so, you know, sometimes you have to work through those, you know, those kind of people that don't know. But Miss Reva, she's very holy and sanctified, so I thank God that I ain't had to go through too much with her. You know, she's good. But now DJ on the other hand, let's go. But he made it through though.
So,
but you know, it's all right. It's all right.
Everybody goes through it. Everybody goes through it. So, in everything that you've been through in the hospital, you know, I think twice for your surgeries and then back and forth going through your illness and everything, have you always felt completely supported by Kiki?
Yes, I have.
That's good.
Even before we even got married.
Yeah, sometimes I was shaky, you know.
You was.
I told her the way I just didn't feel like she was there. I knew, and like I told her, like when I first met her, you know, certain things you tell people. And the first thing I told her was, I'm gonna need a strong woman, because I knew it's certain things you should tell a person, and that was like one of the first things I told her. I told her that I was a diabetic, and I was like, I'm gonna need a strong woman. I was just being honest. I mean, I know she needed a strong man, but it was a different situation with her. But I did tell her that, you know, I didn't put her in the blind. You know what I'm saying? So that was like one of the first things. You know, and I mean, she's always been there. Always been there.
Okay. So how was it when you met Kiki and she had Talasia? Did you meet her dad, or how did that go with them having?
It was at a birthday party, wasn't it?
Yeah. I don't remember what year, but
3.
Yeah.
She was 3 years old in the party.
Birthday party. No, it was cool, you know, but I understood. I didn't have a child, but I understood where he was. He wanted to make sure whoever Kiki married or who was going to be there would treat her like he was going to treat her.
But you never had a relationship with him. You just was like, I think when you first met him, we was at the birthday party and I introduced y'all. But he probably was just like, oh, that might be just somebody who I was talking to. He wasn't, you know, the type of person to be like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I'm saying I kind of feel that with him after I got to know him a little bit more.
Right.
And after we talked and to become where we are now, I mean, that's where I felt that he was. And he finally told me that. He was like, man, I just wanted to make sure, you know, my daughter was going to be, which that's understandable.
Right.
You know?
Okay, guys, so I just have one last question for you, okay? Tell me what matters most in your marriage.
Just us being together and just growing old together and I just love spending time with my family. That just means everything to me. That means the world. That's what matters to me is my family, us being together, us growing old together. Him putting on my socks and shoes for me.
What about you, DJ?
Yeah, that's the most important. Family.
Being together.
You know, keeping God first in our marriage. And I know that we keep God first, everything else will fall in line.
Okay, great. Well, I certainly appreciate you guys coming and answering these questions for me. I have a little game. Are you willing to play a game with me?
Sure.
All right. It's called Him and Her, okay? So I'm going to give you a her and you a him.
I get both.
Yeah, and then I'm going to give you a her and you a him, okay? So I'm going to ask you a question, and based on who is the person that applies to the question, you would say it's her or it's him, okay? All right. So who's the better driver? Okay, you both agree on that. Who said I love you first? Okay. Who is the most competitive? Okay. And who starts the most arguments? Kiki, you argue?
I don't argue. But if it's
Don't eat.
but if it's something that yeah.
You start arguments with DJ, or you just start arguments in general?
I just ask a question and then he just don't. And I'm like, are you serious? And I just go on.
She don't like my answers.
Yeah. He just
Okay.
won't say nothing.
Well, you know, sometimes y'all don't tend to get possessed.
I'll take
Okay. All right, and who is the most? I know the answer to this one. I already know the answer to this one. Who's the most high maintenance? Kiki, you know you're not telling the truth.
No, but I'm for real. Like people and everybody look at me or whatever. But when I'm telling you, I'm telling you, he can't stuff his clothes a very certain way. He got to put on. I'm telling you, DJ is very hot. I'm telling you, DJ is very hot. Yeah, y'all see because I'm on the outside, but at home, and I'm telling you, he is very. And some don't look right.
Oh,
like
so
coming
you
up
wasn't
here.
telling the truth.
Right.
Well, I mean-
DJ is very hot maintenance. I'm telling you.
Ain't
I'm
nothing
saying he
wrong with that. Ain't no, my daddy was like that.
Yeah.
My daddy would get a piece of lint on him and he just be brushing.
DJ is very hot maintenance.
Okay. All right. Well, thank y'all so much. I really appreciate you guys coming out and discussing your matters with me today. You know, we guys go way back.
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, thank everybody for tuning in to our segment today of Marriage Matters. If you would like to be a guest on our show, or if you have any questions that you'd like to ask, please feel free to send us an email at G3Vision. That's the letter G, the number 3, Vision 2020 @gmail.com. Again, we thank you for watching our show, and until next time, darlings, remember, you'll always be able to survive the matters in your marriage when you remember your marriage matters. See you next time. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed our show. Until next time, darlings, remember, you'll always be able to survive the matters of your marriage as long as you remember your marriage matters. If you'd like to be a guest on our show, please send an email to the link below. And as always, like, subscribe, and share. We'll see you next time, darling.